Hey everyone, welcome to the Hobby Streakers, episode 21. So, what is Hobby Streak? Well, Hobby Streak is doing 30 minutes of hobby every night for the longest streak possible. My co-host, as always, Liam, is today on 1609? Correct?
Sounds about right.
Alright. Well, so you passed the 1600 very recently.
Sure did.
Alright. Everybody, hats off. Yep. I mean, yeah. That's pretty nice. There's someone that's getting close to it's like 1590 something. So
it's Zach.
Probably,
yeah. Zach I think is
getting close.
Keeping me honest.
If one of you slips, then yeah,
I prefer to think of them as Zach and Norm. They're the ones who are like closest to me. I prefer to think of it as them keeping me honest.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, then they're gonna catch up and take the crown. It's mine.
It's mine. Well,
so I won my own, my precious.
My name is JG, and I am on 441. Hey. I started the hobby in general, way after you were already on the streak. Because I've been hobbying for, 3 years now? I think something like that. And you've been on the freaking hobby streak for like 4 years, so yeah. But, I am on 441 days. Which is, I'm still proud, still going strong.
Respectable number.
Yep. Still going strong, and I have no intention of stopping. So yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I do say that I am diversifying a lot of what I'm doing for the hobby streak. So that's also, I think that's one way of keeping it going is. Once you're in a rut of doing something, just start doing something else. Like start looking at, some other medium, like if you want to stop painting and start building, start, scratch build terrain or whatever, I think that's the way to do it if you don't want to. Some people are saying, they look at it as a chore and everything, and they're having issues, and I think that's probably some of it is due to that, is because they're trying to do too much. But anyways, today I am painting my Revenant from, for the Silver Bayonet from North Star Miniatures, which I have done an unboxing. Recently, the same time as the video came out 2 weeks ago. For the streak, I did an unboxing of everything Wave 3. What are you painting?
I am painting the Warhammer World exclusive Stormcast Eternal Knight Questor model.
Cool.
Because I went up to Warhammer World for the first time since the before times on Sunday just gone. To play some Age of Sigmar with my brother for his birthday, so
cool.
I guess semi shout out to Toby, aka Super Prototype.
All
Happy
right.
birthday!
Nice, happy birthday, dude. All easy.
31.
Oh, he's a youngster still. I wish. But yeah, so cool. So what is it? Like, what kind of character is it?
So Stormcast have a hero called a Knight Questor, who is a Stormcast who has been given a specific quest to accomplish by Sigmar himself, and they're given a rune blade and a great shield. And they're sent off into the realms to do this one task, and they have Sigmar's authority to grab whatever they need to go and do. grab whatever they need to go and do that.
Okay.
But sometimes some Stormcast will fall into a fugue state, and they'll have uncertain visions about a task that they need to accomplish. And they'll be locked in like a special cell to sort of see what will happen to them. And sometimes they wake up and it's past, and sometimes they'll wake up and they'll have this fine set of armor and a two-handed greatsword in the cell with them. And everybody's like, how did that get in there? And they're like, we don't know. And they go off and they try and figure out what the task they've been set is.
Cool.
Whatever that happens to be. So this guy doesn't technically have rules for the current edition of the game.
Well, can you use him for another character then?
He comes with a rule sheet in his box, but this is technically speaking like the store anniversary model last year, a narrative play character rather than a match play one. So if I was going to use him, I would use him as a Night Questor rather than an Errant Questor.
Nice.
But he's large and in charge, and I like guys with two massive two-handed weapons. So
nice. Yeah.
It's a mystery why I didn't already have him.
Well, cool. All right.
Cool. Do you want to do shout-outs?
Yes, let's do shout-outs. So yeah, we're recording this. We're recording this on a Wednesday because yesterday I had a whole bunch of stuff to do, which came in kind of last minute. And today I don't have that much time either. It's becoming a bit crazy with the kids and stuff, so yeah, that is why we are. Hopefully, man, this one is gonna be a shorter episode if we don't get 20 other cuts. All right, go for your shout. I will put
all of these in the show notes later, but they're not in there at the moment, so I'm going to read off my phone. We've got Ironwaffleminis. We've got 200 days. We've got Vangeluscentral, who I've got on 196 when I checked in on them, so they should be on 200 by now.
Nice.
Congrats, people. I've got other stuff saved in here. Paint.less.minis on 200.
Is that a pun? Is that a shot towards Paint More Minis from Maniac?
Probably.
Nice.
Techomania _ is on 200.
Cool.
That's some stretching. That's a full picture of freehand on the board. There we go. Look at that. That's some free-handed tight wall onto Titan stuff. That looks like. Yeah, that's going back. Yeah, that's it. That's all my shout-outs.
Alright.
There were some other people I saw on Twitter today and yesterday. So...
Yeah, as you pointed out, after 9 days of not having time at all to go online, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna open a Coke because I need the caffeine to hopefully get rid of my migraine. So yeah, after 9 days of not doing anything on Twitter, I finally got around, and a lot of people probably received like 20 messages saying, "Hey, JG liked 20 of your..."
I sat down on my lunch break and I was like, "JG has liked 9 of your tweets," and I was like, "Oh, cool."
It's like, yay! So yeah. So what do I have? I have Vangelis on 400 days. I have Nathan Allen, who is on 1,400 days. So pretty close as well, not too far behind you. 200 days at that stage, it's pretty close. And then I have KLab, which we've talked about on this podcast before, I'm pretty sure, because he's been very active in the community of the Hobby Streak. He is on 400 days. So congrats to all those people again. You guys are doing great. And yeah. So let's move on to what we've done the past 2 weeks. Do you want me to go ahead?
You go ahead, and I'll work out when the last episode was, and I'll.
So I finally did the Fart Quest RPG campaign with my kids and my wife, and we had fun. It was fun. I was the DM. It was my first time DMing anything. I've done some board game kind of thing where you kind of also need a DM, but to the level of what I've done for this, not at all. So that was fun. I had a blast. And yeah, at the end they managed to get Fart Quest, as you can imagine. So they managed to get the potty paper from the Minotaur. So it's pretty fun. They avoided the owl bear, which was good. They got one of the character got killed by the purple slime, and that was my daughter, so she was pretty upset. But we had an extra character because we played with 4 characters, so she grabbed the other character and continued playing basically. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it was fun. It was pretty fun. I need to see if I can just write rules for the next, like a next adventure kind of thing, if I can write some rules or not. But yeah, so that's one of the things I've done. Then I worked on some skeleton for Frostgrave. That's pretty much the only thing that I painted, was those skeleton. And what I'm doing today, I haven't really painted any, like a lot at all. What I've done is a lot of 3D design and 3D modeling and 3D design. Most of it, all of it for my game that I'm working on. So I've done some crates, wooden crates, plastic crates, stuff like that. Turret, a drone, a different kind of drone than the one I did before, Spiderbot, a drone control case, and I managed to do it with a little guy also next to it, so that, I didn't sculpt the guy, but anyways, so I have my drone operator that's ready as well to print on the base and everything, so I'll need to do some test prints on this. Some barrels, a bus stop, some alien turret signs, scanning device, which it was funny because it started as a kind of a planter, and yeah. So I built, I wanted to do some kind of, I didn't know what I was doing, and I designed that thing, and then it's like, I was looking at it, and I was like, dude, that so looks like an alien device where you put someone to scan it, and then I just added the scan on the top, and I was like, yep, here we go, that works. And then some alien writing on the side. I was like, yep, that looks like an alien scanning device, so yeah. And that's about it. And then I started printing some buildings, which you might still hear in the background because it is printing right now. The problem is I am probably gonna run out of filament before it's done, which sucks. Because my filament only comes on Monday. So yeah, I didn't realize when I launched the second print that I was gonna maybe run out of filament, so that sucks. I still have some left over in a spool that might be able to do another few layers, but yeah. it's gonna be a problem I'm gonna run out. Anyway, so yeah, lots of 3D design, lots of things that I need to print and well test print and see if I need to update my design. So yeah, my 3D models. What about you?
So I painted up, finished painting up the 2 sectors that I was doing at the last episode, so I could take them to Warhammer Worlds to play in the game that I was playing with my brother. So I finished them up the night before, got all the varnish done, left them on my desk so the varnish could like air out and dry before I put them in my case to take up. Got to Warhammer World, deployed, and remembered that I'd left them on my desk, so that was good. I finished the Vanguard Paladors that I've been painting for the last week or 2. They've been giving me grief for some reason, so I'm glad to see the back of them. I've finished the Thousand Suns Apothecary. He just needs some varnish on when I get the time to do that.
Okay.
And I've started and mostly finished Baller and Burke, the boss rat hunters, which were the New Year commemorative model from Games Workshop.
Oh, cool.
I've then started 4 Jacothian Guard Tempestors. They're currently on my desk here. They've got a lot of armor trim on, so that's taken a while now, and then I'll just be doing the details on, so I'll get those done. I'm mostly done. They should mostly be done by the weekend.
Nice. Alright.
And yeah, painting this guy.
Cool. Yeah, oh, I forgot also, I finally got, because we went to Fort Collins, which is not too far from here, well, relatively speaking, and we stopped by Home Depot, so I finally got plywood, so I can
do some more work on the board.
Exactly, yep. I want to do the outside of the board, and as soon as that's done, then I can start putting the grit and everything on it. So yeah, finally, I was like, because I mean, we have stuff here, but it's like 3 times the price, so it's a pain. And so usually when we go to Cheyenne or Fort Collins or something like that, then we just try to grab some wood or stuff like that that we need from Home Depot, because it's usually cheaper. So yeah, I'm planning on this weekend. I'll try to if we're not too busy, we just wanna stop doing shit. It's like, no, we wanna stay home. For once, one weekend, just stay home and do nothing. So yeah, hopefully we can do that this weekend. If that's the case, then yes, I'll definitely do that. Try to get that going, and yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun to work some more on that board and get it finished. All right, so we ran a little streaker poll. Way back about dice, and the reason for that, well, because as always, there's always a weird reason why I'm putting those poll on. I actually was watching the latest game from Ash Baker, from Guerrilla Miniature Games, and he did a weird, well, so it's another mech game, First Strike, I think it's called, and the way it works is it always hits and you're rolling defense only, which I thought was kind of strange. So, and I thought that was pretty cool, because it's always, it's always nice to have something different, and that was definitely different. So basically, it's like, oh yeah, so I just launch all this at you. You need to evade all the stuff that are coming your way, basically. And so yeah, so I thought that was really a weird take on dice mechanics, and then I was like, huh. I wonder what people like, because it's definitely there's a lot of different games. The Silver Bayonet uses 2D. I'm gonna say D12, I think, or D10, either way. And then you just one is power, one is skill, and so it gives you something to hit, and so on and so forth. Some others will use. And then you got opposing dice, usually on melees, and sometimes you roll for defense when you get, shot at, sometimes you don't, sometimes you only get a bonus, sometimes. And so there's a lot of different ways of basically having dice rules for all the games. Sometimes you have even like special dice. For example, for Marvel Crisis Protocol, Star Wars Legion, I think. Does Warcry? No, Warcry is just the 6.
Warcry is D6s.
Yeah, it's just the 6 that has a different symbol, but it's still a D6. Yeah. So. Yeah, and so then you have D6s. You have if you take something like an RPG, then you have like pretty much every single possible die. You got like a D6, a D6, D8, D10, D12, D20. Then you could roll like also some percentage. You do some percentage rolls and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun to see. I like when there is a target to hit. Like, oh, you need to roll 5 or above, and then you roll, and that's it, and then it tells you if you hit or not. And I really like that kind of mechanics. Apparently, a lot of people like that kind of things where there's a target to hit, or at the opposite side of the spectrum, just roll a freaking bucket of dice. And I literally put that in the thing, bucket of dice. And I think that's kind of like 40K and Age of Sigmar. You kind of, I've heard tales of rolling 30 dice and stuff like that.
Oh, you still have a target number that you need to hit. You're just rolling tons of dice trying to hit that target number.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So when I was saying, like just hit a target number was just like you roll one die and you need to hit that target number.
Yeah.
And not like, hey, let's roll 23 dice and see how many of those 23 hit that target. It's like, but apparently a lot of people like.
When I was at the tournament, when I was at the event the other week, there was a particular attack that took us 20 minutes to resolve one shooting attack.
Was it because of like too many dice, or just to figure out?
It was just because, to figure out. I launched 20 3-inch circular blast templates at somebody, and I had to work out how many people were under each one, because they each scattered individually, and then I had to roll something like 70 wound dice.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's yeah, and that's kind of like it's so I don't know there's some. I like not rolling that many dice, but yeah, and again, like, this kind of reflects what I'm doing for the game. I went back and forth on a few different ways that I wanted to I'm not gonna say manage the dice, but kind of like, yeah, what to roll and how to roll, and I've done it. There is no defense dice rolling. You roll, you hit or you don't, and then you do damage high or low. And that's kind of like, I wanted to simplify the thing as much as possible, because I wanted it to go fast. I want it to be a very fast game where you get in, and if you're lucky on some of the rolls, you can basically just have, play for, I would say 30 minutes, you can be done with the mission. And that's kind of what I was looking at. It is some things that will be quick, but that means also the other way around. Like, the enemies, even if they're AI controlled, can kill one of you guys also in 2 turns. Like, shoot it twice. If they hit both times, then that's it. Your guy is dead. Like, unless you have some kind, unless you manage to medkit him and all this, yeah, you can lose guys as fast as you can kill guys, and this is kind of what I wanted. The kind of high cost, high reward kind of play. But yeah, it's and I think that, again, that does not appeal to everybody. Some people like to have that hey, I'm getting shot at, I want to be able to counter what you're doing, like counter your attack, and maybe able to defend myself and things like this. And again, like, that's kind of a lot of games you will have this, especially hand-to-hand combat. Usually you have that kind of thing where it's like, oh, you hit with 5, my turn, my guy's got this kind of defense, so I will roll the dice. If I hit 5 also, blah blah blah, and then you compare the who's got the biggest number, and here we go, your guy hits or not, and then you subtract the defense, and then you subtract the armor, and so on and so forth. And so yeah, I kind of wanted to go way quicker than that. So yeah, so that's kind of where I went with, again, like with the kind of dice roll that I wanted was, you roll, you hit, you don't, and you hit the damage, and that's it. And I never understood in games when you roll for actions. Like, oh, this guy is gonna see if he can. There's some weird mechanics in the Silver Bayonet where you roll to see if you can sprint. So basically, like, you can, if you succeed in your roll, then you will move like 4 inches. If you don't succeed, you'll move only 2. And I'm like, dude, that's just, I don't want to roll for this kind of things. I go under, like, those guys are trained, they're in the battlefield, they train, if they want to sprint, they sprint, done. Like, or you're gonna apply your medkit. Yeah, so the medkit is gonna do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 depending on what you roll. I'm like, okay, you do a medkit, it heals 2, done. Like, if you need more than 2, then you need to apply again, or like something like this. But there's a lot of things like this in games that just, sometimes for me there's just way too much dice rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And for, it's like this, and this is kind of where don't really like. I have a problem with RPGs when you start going, oh, roll for this, roll for that, roll for this, roll for. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, if you don't, and you roll a 1, and all of a sudden, like, you're supposed to be this super, a trained guy, and you cannot see the freaking wall that's in front of you because you rolled a 1. I was like, that makes no sense. And I think that's kind of, in a lot of games, even like tabletop games, you still have that kind of mechanics where, oh, you guys is trying to climb, to climb over a wall. Oh, yeah, you just fell, you cannot climb the wall. Dude, if the guy wants to climb a wall, like, unless it's really like something huge, he's gonna climb the freaking wall. Or sometimes it's just like, oh, you need to just jump over something, and then you roll and you're like, oh no, you cannot jump over the thing because you failed your roll, and you're like, how? How is that making any sense? I don't know. Like it. I don't know if there is. And again, I don't know if that's some mechanics that you have in Age of Sigmar or things like this. For like spells, I'm guessing. Yeah, maybe.
The spells. A spell has a casting value, and you need to beat that, equal or beat that casting value on 2d6.
Which, again, spell kind of is okay with me on the fact that
the easy ones are about a 5, the hard ones are a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
So most of the time you're going to get it because your average dice roll on 2d6 is 7.
7, yeah.
There are some prayers. Prayers are generally 1d6. You're looking for a 2 or a 3.
Well, prayers, if you prayers is like flipping a coin anyway, so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, but so some of that makes sense because it's supposed to be, like something that is hard and blah blah blah. But I don't know. Like I think the worst offender in this is the RPGs.
Yep.
Because it's like, roll for, like, not. It's just like, do a perception check. Well, you're supposed to be a freaking health ranger that's living in the woods for all his life and be tracking animals, and somehow you roll a 1 and you cannot see the freaking footprint that's in front of you. And you're like, really? It's like, come on.
One time in our Dark Heresy game, our assassin failed to sneak up behind somebody and slice their throat.
Dude, he's an assassin. To be fair, he's trained.
That's a D100 game, and he rolled 100.
Okay.
So that's critical fail. So.
But yeah, and again, like that kind of mechanics doesn't, that there is a cost on, like you have movement, you can move, you can move 6 inches, and you go through rough terrain, and it's, it halves that. So rough terrain you can only move 3. If you need to go over an obstacle, then you move 1 inch over that obstacle, and it costs you like 2 or 3 inches of your actual movement and things like that. I understand that there is a cost which impacts what your base stats are. But again, like, if you're trying to climb over a freaking wall, and I would understand, and I think that some people actually, and I don't know who's doing that, but I know that some people, because of that, when they actually DM, if you're climbing a wall, you roll a 1, you're gonna climb the wall, but on the other side, you're gonna fall and freaking hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot more sense. Like, there is a consequence to failing that is not doing the task. There is another consequence to that. And I think that makes a lot more sense. And I wish that, like in games they would integrate that more also in tabletop. Like, you're trying to do a spell, you fail. Well, your spell still works, but somehow you just popped another thing right next to it. You throw a fireball at someone, the fireball still works, but somehow while throwing your fireball, you freaking burn your, either the guy that's right next to you also got like some kind of weird, spin off your spell or something, or you burn yourself or something like this. But you still threw that fireball at the guy,
Yeah, that's like in Horus Heresy. If you when you cast a spell, you have to throw a number of your choice of the number of dice from the amount of psychic power dice you generate, and there's an amount of warp charges that you need to get to cast. You generate a warp charge on a dice on a 4+. So if I've got a spell with a warp charge of 2 or 3, I'm looking to throw 3 or 4 dice. Yeah?
Yep.
If you roll 2 6s, you trigger what's called a Perils of the Warp check. So
and something happens.
The gribbly demons that live on the other side of reality try and eat your brain. The spell goes off,
but then you have some consequence.
Either you have an aneurysm, you forget a spell, the raw power of the warp overtakes you, and you end up becoming super strong for a turn. You vanish into the warp without a trace. Stuff like that.
No, yeah, and
you forget a spell, etc., etc.
And that makes a lot more sense. And I think it should be like that should be in all the games. You know, like you're all you need to, and it should not be you need to pass. It should be if you roll, like you wanna climb this wall, then you need a 5. Out of like 2d6 or whatever, what you want to do, you need a 5 or above, like on a d10. Well, that's not to climb the wall. That's to climb the wall and come out on the other side, not injured. And then if you roll, it's gonna be like, oh, you rolled below that, like 3 and 4. Then you, on the other side, you become prone because you basically just fumbled and hit your freaking face in the dirt, and you're prone and you lost the rest of your movement. Or you roll a 1 or 2 and then you can actually take a point of damage because you fell on your arm and you've really hurt yourself, and you're prone and you lost your movement. Like that, and this is kind of like what I would like more games to do. It's to have, instead of having things of, oh, you need to roll a 5. Oh, I rolled a 4. Oh, well, you missed. Like you cannot advance. Like, how? No, that oh, you fumbled and you fell and you hit your head. Okay, that makes sense. But you still can move and you still can do stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, that was kind of like got me down a rabbit hole when I started looking at this and and considering all the stuff, and I did, like, with the games that I went down that rabbit hole a few times. Activation is another one. Rolling for initiative and things like this. There's a lot of different activation that you can find with dice and with just you roll wheel and then you both go, or hey, let's look at the number of guys that you have and the number of guys that I have. If I have more than you, then I'm going first or I'm going last, or like there's a lot of activation like this, but a lot of them are rolling dice against one another. But yeah, it's weird. Still, there's some stuff like that I don't like rolling for initiative. Again, I think I don't know. It's not that it doesn't make sense, but it is sometimes a little bit. You can just go from bad to worse. You're like, oh, if I don't get initiative, yeah, that's it for me, kind of thing. So yeah. I like the way that Rain in Hell had the initiative, because you roll for all the guys and then you compare them and then they go in order. And so you get all you guys going. You can have 3 of your guys going, then one of the other guy, like your opponent going once, and then you're going again, and then he goes with everything that he has left. And that gives you a lot more strategy play. Alright, this guy's not holding on the base. So yeah. So what do you think of... Okay, so that's rolling dice. What do you think of cards? I don't know if you... like. So... what's the name of that game? Where they use cards? The one with the super hard minis to build.
Malifaux.
Hey, thank you. That's the one. I know. Yeah, Malifaux uses...
one of the guys at our club has written himself a Wild West game.
Cool.
That uses a deck of playing cards.
Nice. Yeah.
And like he's got 2 decks of cards. One that he deals out to players as they need to, so they've got a hand of cards, and one that he uses to determine which person has an activation for one of their minis.
Okay.
So you'll get a suit at the start of the game, and he'll shuffle that deck and he'll pull a card, and if it's your suit, then you move one of your guys. Mm-hmm. But it's your choice which one of the guys you move.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the cards that you've got in your hand, there's different combinations you can do to do like certain special things depending on what character you've got.
Okay. But so do you use the cards like in Malifaux for like attacks and stuff?
I don't know. Don't play Malifaux.
Okay.
No, nobody at my club plays Malifaux, so I don't have any informed comment.
Yeah, no, I know, and well, I've seen
Malifaux
some,
other than the models of Italy.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay on Malifaux, and it's kind of like, yeah, you can. I mean, you're gonna play random cards, but you have the option to change your cards. You have the option to pick another card and so on. So there is some play with it, and yeah, it's again, like I think it's nice. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good system. I mean, it's different for sure.
Yeah, I mean, card-based stuff, I prefer having that be for special abilities rather than for determining the models and how the models behave.
Well, yeah. So I looked at cards because so I started my game as a co-op and solo.
Yeah.
So activation wasn't part of the concept at all from the beginning, because for me, it was like you have the first turn because you're the star player in a way, and even if you're playing co-op, you decide which, like both of, even if you have multiple guys, you decide in together which character is gonna go first, and you can, like you can move 3 of your guys, and then I move my 2 guys, and then so on. It does not matter because we're both playing together. Well, I started looking at adversarial, and that whole thing just didn't make any sense anymore. So I started looking at dice rolling and cards and things like this, and I came up with a card-based activation,
right,
which I really like, and I have not tried out yet, so I need to see if it holds up. But yeah, so we'll see.
I like in terms of activation, my favorite is the system that Bolt Action uses.
That's what I was gonna say. Bolt Action is probably one of the where you pick from a bag. That's the one, right?
So like every unit that you have is worth a dice, and you put that number of your faction dice in a bag or a cup or something, and then you pull one out. Yeah. Your opponent puts all their stuff in the same dice as well, and you pull one out, and whoever's dice it is, they get to pick a unit to activate.
Well, a unit that's represent that die, because you can have infantry or artillery and so on, right?
As far as I know,
you're just pulling. That's my turn, or you're pulling an actual.
As far as I know, the dice are all the same, and you assign that dice to a unit when you pull it out of the bag.
Yeah. Okay.
So tanks, artillery, infantry are the same.
Okay.
You just pull a dice, and you the different orders you can give are on the dice. So you take it out, you turn it to advance or whatever, and you put it next to the unit to show that they have advanced. So that you don't forget that you've already activated that unit when you pull another dice out.
Okay. Alright, well, yeah, that's... Yeah. Again, like, that's probably... The problem. Not really, because it's represent the fog of war and all this. I've heard, like, people talking about this kind of activation for bolt action that a lot of people like because of that. Now, the thing is, you do not know what's coming next.
Nope.
And I think that works when you have a lot of, like a lot of units and big units and all this. But when you have single characters, that might not work as well. I don't know.
I think so.
But yeah, and this is why, like, something like Rain in Hell, where at the beginning of the turn, you know who's gonna go for the whole turn and in what order. Lets you plan a lot more also strategically, because you're like, okay, my guy here is gonna move, but then this guy is gonna move. So do I want to take this guy out because when it's gonna be his turn, my guy is right next to him. This guy is not gonna move for another 3 turns. By the time it's his turn, he might be dead. So do I want to take this guy out first, and so on and so forth. And I think that gives you a lot more chess-like, thinking a few moves ahead, and I really like that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I found a good way, I think. I need to, again, I will really need to test it out, and I need some cards to test it out, so I need to buy some cards, which I haven't yet, so they're in my list. Alright, well, let's talk about the news.
Cool. Do you want to go first?
Yes, let me go first.
Okay.
I kind of like this. I should have done the same for the other one. Alright, let me see. So, few things that I've seen in the news that might interest people. So, Reaper's Mini, I've came out with Bone 6. As you can tell from the name, the 6th iteration of their Bone Kickstarter. Bones, I should say. Kickstarter.
Reaper Bones.
Yep. And so,
wherein one can receive a fuck ton of minis.
Yeah.
I believe is the technical...
It's the technical term, yeah.
The technical measurement for how many minis you get from a Reaper.
Well, there's already more than 100 minis just in the core set for $125.
Sounds about right.
And well, and usually, like, by the end of it, you get probably most minis for 80 cents, 75 cents, roughly, less than $1. And then the big ones for like $3 for a freaking dragon that's gonna be, like 20 centimeters tall, and you get a dragon, and technically it's worth like $20. But you pay like $3. Like, it's ridiculous. If you want to go from, I have a few minis that aren't painted too. Oh my god, I got a mountain of minis that aren't painted. Yeah, just go for the Reaper Bones. Again, it is a really, really good value. Because you get tons of mini for nothing. But yeah, do I want to get those? Yes. Am I gonna get those? No. Because again, I already have Lasting Tales. I don't know if you've seen that one. Which is kind of the same thing. I mean, it was crazy, and they keep sending new sculpt and everything that they're working on, and yeah, it's gonna take a while until they finish sculpting everything, but Mostly right now they're sculpting the stretch goal. They've been doing that for the past almost year now. And they came out with the game with it, but I didn't want the game. I just wanted the minis. So yeah, I already have that coming in. I'm not trying to get another 200 and something minis that I'm not gonna know what to do with it. So anyways, so that was pretty cool. People, stop sending me emails. Star Wars Legion came out with the Shadow Collective Mercenary Starter box.
Did see that.
So 22 minis, and it's all like stuff that you can get separate. I have not done the math, but I'm pretty sure it's worth it because it's $69 for 22 minis. Considering there's a mole in it, you've got the Mandalorian Super Commandos unit in there, Black Suns Enforcers, the Pack Syndicate. You will get also 30 upgrade cards, which is usually a lot of people are pretty pissed off at games like this one and Marvel Crisis Protocol because some cards you can only get in certain packs. They've released also at the same time 2 packs of cards for like upgrading things. So they're working towards be like, hey, you don't have to buy every single pack to get 2 or
yeah. That was my problem with X-Wing.
Yeah. So you don't need to buy 20 packs of this and that. You can just go ahead and do and have just like this, just the pack of cards for a way lower price than buying all the minis. So yeah, so that's kind of where what they've done. So it looks like they're finally starting to push some Star Wars Legion stuff. It was pretty slow until now. They were releasing packs and everything, but not to that level. It was just so yeah. So Asmodee, if you go on their website, which I've put the link below, you can see all those packs that are ready to be picked up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Not gonna make me start playing Legion. I still have my Legion stuff that I'm still not fully painted. And I got the starter set from with Vader and Luke, the Rebel and the Empire. So yeah. But I thought that was pretty cool because it's not a starter box where you have the 2 sides, which they've done a lot of. Like I said, they've done the Luke and Vader one, and they've done the droid versus clone armies for the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So they've done that one as well. So yeah, so they are working towards packs like this. I think will work also a lot better. Be like, hey, you wanna play like if they were like you wanna play Rebels, here is an army of Rebels.
Yeah,
there
so
is
it's
not
kind of like the combat patrols or vanguards or
exactly
collectings or whatever for Warhammer stuff.
Yeah, instead of having something like the Indominus box where it's 2 sides, you have only 1 side, and there's more of those people from that side. And I think that might work better. And you can pre-order, separate whatever you want, but you can just buy the whole freaking thing and be done with it, and have, like I said, like a decent army for that.
These sort of things generally tend to be like, they don't tend to be like the good picks in terms of I'm gonna take this 1 box and start winning tournaments, but they tend to be a pretty good core for you to get a handle on the faction and then start specializing out whatever way that your playstyle suits.
Well, and this one, I mean, there's not that many mercenaries troops right now, and the syndicates, they're coming up with the boxes for the Syndicate. So at the same time, so I don't. Yeah, again, like I think it's probably a really good value. I haven't checked the price and everything, but usually.
I mean, you get Darth Maul, so
Yeah.
Darth Maul's cool.
Yeah. And by himself, he's probably like 25 or something like that. So, you're paying 69 for the whole box. I'm pretty sure that's, it's a really good
I mean, I'm pretty sure they need to include a Bluetooth speaker in there, so that every time you put him on the table, you can press a button on your phone and have Duel of the Fates start playing.
Yeah. Now it's again surprising. I was not expecting that from them to start doing those kind of boxes. I think they are trying it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more coming up in the future. So I'll keep an eye on, and definitely if I see more, I will put it out there in my next news. And my last piece of news is Corvus Belli, which are known for their game Infinity. They are working on a fantasy game, which is gonna be weird because if you look at, well, probably the picture on the screen right now, they have done a roadmap, and they basically said, so, announcement, and I'm gonna make that bigger so that you can read it. So, Adepticon 2022, that's what they did. They announced Warcrow, which, it's funny. I'm like, yeah, could you be more like a ripoff of Warcry? Anyways. So they announced the game, but then in fall 2022, they will come up with a dungeon crawler board game on Kickstarter based on that game. But that game, after that dungeon crawler, will in a way branched into Gen Con 2023, the war game.
So what they've done is they've announced the setting.
They've announced that they're doing a game that's fantasy. That's pretty much it. Like, the whole video is just like, there's no minis, there's nothing. Like, all you know is they're doing... It's a setting.
They've announced a setting.
And the weird, like, the way they're doing it that I found was kind of, like, was really interesting, is that they will go into that board gamey thing on Kickstarter and be like, hey, that's the game. Those are some of the minis. You can do a dungeon crawler. I am guessing something akin to not Dark City, Curse City. Something like this, where you're gonna have minis and it's gonna be a dungeon crawler, which Curse City is. And then they're gonna be like, okay, now that you have those guys, you can use those guys with those other guys, and you can start doing armies and stuff. And they say war game. They do not say if it's gonna be skirmish,
No.
but I'm guessing it's gonna be close to something like, Infinity. Yeah. So yeah. Again, interesting piece of news. Am I interested in it? I will see. When in fall 2022 they do their dungeon crawler, what it looks like. But yeah, I've got enough stuff in the fire that I don't need anymore. But I am interested in seeing. I really like their sculpt that they do for Infinity. So I want to see what they can do for something more fantasy. And it again might be really interesting to see. So
I mean,
yeah,
what kind of fantasy aesthetic they lean into might be interesting as well.
exactly. And again, I mean, they created a whole new world for Infinity, completely different from whatever you can find out there as far as sci-fi. So if they do the same for this, that could be really interesting to see. Because it might be like something completely new, completely different, and that might be just really interesting. I was surprised that they're branching into fantasy. They must be doing well, because, and so yeah, it's again really interesting to see where they're gonna go with it, and cannot wait to see some of the minis and everything, because they usually, like I said, I usually really like the aesthetic, or their sculptures are pretty good, I think. And also, I know they're doing a lot more Cyocasting now, which is that new plastic thing. So if they start doing this all in Cyocast, might be pretty interesting to see as well. If they have if they start putting those out in plastic only, could be interesting as well to see. So yeah, what do you think? You're probably gonna have people playing at your club.
We've got a couple of people who have Infinity stuff, but we don't really have any Infinity going on, because both of them are fairly infrequent attendees, and they're basically never down at the same time. So Infinity just doesn't happen, but they've got Infinity stuff.
Alright, well.
So, kind of need one or two people down there to start building a game up.
Well, if you're playing Infinity, I talked about Corvus Terrain. That was gonna release the Tycho Kickstarter with a lot of stuff that would work great for Infinity and Legion as well. And so yeah, it's the Kickstarter is on. If you wanna, I'll put the link in the show notes.
Cool. Right, my news. My news?
Yep, go for it.
My news. Right. So, again, at AdeptCon, Games Workshop had their first big reveal of the year. So I've linked the Hub article on the show notes. So they've got a separate page for each of the other games that they had going on. So they had some Necromunda Ash Wastes stuff. So you've got some robed desert dwellers riding giant crickets.
I've seen those, yeah. That looks pretty cool.
Got a picture of the box, picture of all the terrain. The terrain looks pretty neat. All looks like really ramshackle kind of stuff, and all the gangers. It's like weird Mad Max sort of vibes on all the quad bikes as well. That's a big picture of the Locust guy. That's more of the terrain. That's all of that. After that, you had the full shot of the next warband for Warhammer Underworld's Harrow Deep.
Yep.
Exiled Dead, which is very much a sort of Franken mad science necromancy sort of stuff, with zombies with like little Tesla orbs sticking out their backs, etc., etc.
So who are they supposed to be?
They're just some zombies.
But are they controlled by
There is a necromancer mad scientist
Okay, yeah,
in
okay.
there.
So, but
somewhere,
like, what
apparently.
faction are those?
They'll be for death.
Okay.
Grand Alliance death. I'm assuming that when they come out, their actual Age of Sigmar rules will be probably in Soulblight Gravelords.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
The next Warhammer 40,000 Codex will be Chaos Knights. So they've got some new Chaos Knight kits. So because there've been new Imperial Knights since the last Chaos Knights kit, they've got Chaos Spiky Gribbly upgrades for that as well. So Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights coming soon.
Alright.
Blood Bowl.
Yep.
Got the Norse team. So if you ever want some
Yeah, I've seen the guy. He looks pretty
Viking American footballers with what is it? It's a beer boar. So you got some boars with beer kegs strapped to their backs.
I saw the mini. That mini is pretty cool. I like it.
And half of the team have got like ale steins out as well. Age of Sigmar, we had Season of War Thondia announced. So this is stuff I've had actual opinions about. So let's open that article up so we can actually have a look at that. Where are we? So we've got the Incarnate, which is the big swirly orange bony thing. This is a new model type. It's not a spell. It's not an actual unit. It's something that gets attached to one of your heroes and does stuff. I think it looks rubbish, but that might just be that I don't like the paint job. So
yeah,
we'll wait and see, because those are going on pre-order on Saturday.
Okay.
So all the people who have the preview copies will have painted all of theirs up, and they'll all be different colours, so I can see if I like them.
Yeah, sometimes the way the picture is taken or the way the mini is painted can be detrimental to people ordering it.
This is only available in a big terrain box, and I don't know if you remember the terrain that I've been painting over the last few episodes.
Yep. Yes, of course.
But this is an expansion for that terrain sort of line.
Okay.
So 3 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 out of the 6 pieces in this box are stuff that I've already got 2 sets of.
Okay.
So the only new things in here for me would be the big dragon skull and spine, which I'm not fussed about. The new Incarnate model, which I'm not fussed about. And this Aqualith, which is a big floaty rock which generates water, which I actually want. So I'll be checking eBay and getting an Aqualith, or waiting for it to come out separately.
Okay.
Depending on how much people are selling it on eBay for. We've also got the Season of War Thondia book.
Because you think people will buy the box and just sell the pieces separate?
People will buy the box for the Incarnate, and they'll flip the terrain.
Okay, I see.
Season of War Thondia is some new battle plans and missions and lore progressing the story. Somebody had to ask one of the game developers on Twitter whether this was an addition or a replacement to the General's Handbook cycle, because I was thinking, General's Handbook's due out like June, July time. It's a bit close. So this isn't a replacement to the General's Handbook. It's just extra stuff if you want it. So I'm going to pick that up because I always like having extra stuff.
Alright.
Next thing. They revealed a new Nighthaunt hero.
Okay.
The man on a boat. Cool. Let's have a JG model review because
Let me look. I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen the rest, but I don't think I've seen that one.
let me just copy paste that onto the show notes. So you
I'm going down the.
Okay, you're going down.
So
this is Alruck the Drowner.
Yeah, it's a ghosty boy, basically.
It's a ghosty boy in a boat.
Yeah.
And everybody went, ooh, neat. And got on with their lives.
Yeah. Again, it's not an aesthetic that I like. I don't.
No.
Yeah. It's looks nicely sculpted, but yeah, that's about where.
But after that,
Horus Heresy.
Warhammer the Horus Heresy. So they've got a really, really good, really cool, really sexy trailer that I've watched like 15 times. And yeah, after that they showed off the Mark 6 Marine that is going to be in the box. So we've only seen the one mini for the new box so far, officially from Games Workshop. Although this lines up with the leaked box contents that we saw like a year ago at this point. So
yeah,
shrug. The rules continue to be leaking out all over the place. So yeah. I've seen leaks.
They need to freaking just release it and be done with it.
I've seen leaks for basically all of the traitor sides, special rules and Legion rules. Not seen the core rules, so I don't know what any of it actually means in context.
Yeah, but they should
But
just
it
get
looks
on with it.
interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, we're like, oh, there's stuff coming that we don't want to say too much about, coming soon. It's some chaos stuff. But after that, this weekend, I was like, oh, I know what we can do is I can message JG, and then we can talk about when we do the next show. Can talk about what the best and funniest April Fool's things over the weekend were for the hobby community.
Yeah.
And then Games Workshop put a little trailer up that looked very expensive to put together. So everybody were like,
"Yeah,
are you really spending this much money on your
this
April
money
Fool's
just
joke?"
for a joke?"
And there was like a silhouette at the back that that looked like a squat.
Yeah.
And people were like, surely you're not teasing squats for April Fools. And everybody, all like the community guys on Twitter were like, we're totally not joking.
Yeah.
And
that
then
was
like,
freaking awesome. That was
and then the
good.
next day they were like, surprise, we weren't joking, here's actual squats. And people were like, what, seriously?
Yeah.
So,
squats are coming back, apparently.
yeah. So, the elevator pitch for squats is
Space dwarfs.
Is space dwarfs.
That's it. I mean, that's all you need to know.
That's it. They were in 40k in the first and second edition.
And they're supposed to have been wiped out by Tyrannid, if I read.
There's not like an actual in-law thing for why they disappeared. One of the devs went, yeah, they all got eaten by Tyrannids, but they haven't actually published anything saying.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't like this is kind of what I'm not really familiar with the 40k lore, but that's kind of what I read because I was like, Space Dwarves.
They took them out of the game because they were like, oh, we don't want to just copy paste everything from fantasy and go, this is a space elf, this is a space dwarf, these are space undead.
But that's what they're doing.
I mean, that's what they're doing. So, we've got a picture that is probably on the screen now, or has been on for a while, of the one mini. I've seen a lot of people going, oh, this guy looks boring. And I'm like, yes, he is going to be your basic line trooper. So you're going to have like 30 of him. So he's not going to look that exciting, is he?
Yeah, for sure.
Their official IP name is the Leagues of Votan.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, when humanity went into the stars during the Dark Age of technology, these guys went to the galactic core where there's more gravity, so they got progressively shorter through the thousands of years. So they're not Imperials, but they're
not dwarves. They're just smaller because of gravity.
Yeah, they are a divergent subrace of humans.
But I read that they have they embrace technology and all this.
They haven't got the same attitude to technology that the Imperials and the Adeptus Mechanicus have. So
cool.
Will be interesting to see how that goes and how they are not Caradron overlords with all the steampunk stuff filed off. Because that's my concern, is they're going to just be
blend
Caradron overlords, but with all the fantasy stuff swapped for sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well,
they seem to be leaning heavily into the nostalgia stuff at the moment. So they had Sisters Battle come back after a while. They had the Black Templars box, which was all. The whole thing for the Black Templars box was it was aimed to be like the 3rd edition artwork, and all the squats have come back from 2nd edition. I'm like, Plastic Sisters of Battle and squats coming back have been like the jokes for the 40k community for as long as I've been part of it, and
not a joke anymore. Who's laughing now, bitches?
Generally heralded as a sign of the apocalypse. So hang on to your hats.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I think it's good. There's a lot of people that like dwarves, so I'm guessing it's gonna please a lot of people.
They're gonna sell a lot of models, but
yeah, of course, yeah. Well, how are you guys looking? How's your guy, I should say?
I've got most of the base colours on.
Alright.
I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with the cuff on his the vambrace on his right hand, because that's got like a indented, engraved symbol in it. So I'm not sure if I want to do that gold and pick that out, or have it blue and have the indentation picked out in silver. So I'm just going to go back and have a look at what I've done on other similar models that have similar stuff on, and try and get it to line up with that.
Well, my revenants are looking okay. I've been doing mostly contrast because I want to get them done quickly, but yeah, they're looking okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will need, I mean, I'm gonna heavily wash them when I'm done too, just because they're supposed to come from, you know, like they're supposed to be zombies basically. So dirty and greedy and all this, and so I'll wash them heavily once I'm done. But so far so good. I don't know the skin yet, how to do that. I've got my I think that's rotten white, which I like to use for. Well, I like to use elfic flesh, and then after that highlight with the rotten white. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, so far so good. Well, that's it for us. Short-ish episode, an hour and a half or change.
Yeah, probably about an hour 20 once we've got all like the Skype crashes out.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to edit the first few parts.
The first 5 minutes where we had like 3 Skype crashes.
3 Skype crashes, yeah.
Good job, Skype. Well done. You're a fully functional program.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being there with us. Thank you, Liam. Pleasure as always. Keep following us, keep liking us, and share with your friends. 95 subscribers. Woo-hoo. Getting close to 100. If we ever get to 100, that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, we've got 5 subscribers to figure out how to do a live stream.
Yeah. That's gonna be another kind of worm altogether. Well, I got a new computer, but I think I can run some of it on that computer just to lighten the load of this one. So that might be something that I can do, but yeah, it's gonna be it will be it's gonna be weird to do that. Or we can just do one camera each only, and yeah,
We'll figure something out.
That might be another way to do it, but yeah.
Follow us on Twitter, join us on Discord, go into the Facebook group, and
all the media, all the
stuff.
Social media stuff. Keep hobbying, keep doing your hobby streak, hopefully.
Slay the grey.
People watching. Yeah. Have fun. Enjoy the process. And yeah, hopefully my 3D printer is not gonna run out. It's gonna run out. It's gonna run out before being done. That's gonna suck. Alright, well, again, thank you, Liam. Thank you, everybody. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Peace.